Yo, what's going on? It's your boy K-Mo. Look, today, let's talk about 3 things everyone should do to take advantage of a Trump presidency, all right? So, Trump's presidency, his second term, is turning out to be just as bold, polarizing, and volatile as his first term. So, how can we take advantage of what we've already experienced, past and present, to come up with a strategy that can help propel us toward a situation that we can control, regardless of who the president is? And what better situation to strategize from than the one that we're currently in right now? So let's get into it. All right. Step 1, the very first thing that we're going to need to do is establish a strong financial foundation. This gives you the ability to not react, but respond to your unique situation. It's very hard to operate in survival mode, which is like a place of stress and living to check and emotional instability. You know, making your decisions from that situation is very difficult. You know, it's hard to think clearly in that state. So if this is your situation, we're going to outline the steps to get out. And if you got this covered, look, all right, cool. Maybe this could be a nice little refresher for you, and maybe you can take some tips away to share with, somebody that you care about. All right. So in creating a strong foundation, a strong financial foundation, you're going to need to create a budget, right? You're going to need to know where every cent of your money is going. And this is going to give you what I like to call your money pick, right? It's a snapshot of where you are financially in this moment in time. It's going to let you know whether or not you're in the green or the red. It's going to give you a payment schedule, and it's going to help you control spending. And this is going to be important so that you don't forget to pay something or that you don't blow your budget and spend too much. If you don't already have one, this is going to be your first step, right? So you can write this out, you can create a spreadsheet, or you can use an app. Now, I use a spreadsheet and an app. I find it to be a good method. I can go into better detail if you want. After you create that budget, the next thing you're going to have to do is optimize it. You're going to have to cut out any unnecessary expenses. You're going to need to cancel subscriptions, eat out less, dial back luxuries. You can start here because it's, usually an easy place to start from. And those cutbacks add up really quick. At the same time, you can look to increase your income. Do you have a side hustle? Can you get a second job? Can you get a raise? Can you sell some things from your house? Feel free to get creative here. Any extra money that you can bring in from any of the many talents you have is going to be a benefit. After that, look to save as much as you possibly can. A lot of experts say save 10 to 20% of your income. I think that's a good place to start. But more importantly, something is better than nothing, and more is better than less. All right, so just start. Something I like to do is make this part of my budgetary item. So I pay myself first, so to speak. So I make sure I put this as a line item inside of my budget to make sure that I pay this every time. I definitely do this with like my investment accounts and just auxiliary saving accounts that I have. The reason why this is step 1, because I don't know a successful path forward without it. All right, the second step, after you get your financial foundation together, the second step is going to be continuous learning. The world is changing really fast, man. We got AI coming up the pike. We got automation. We got new industries, new technologies, and, old careers kind of phasing out. So it's important that you continue to build your skills to keep building yourself up. Otherwise, it's very possible that you can get left behind. So we got to learn from the mistakes of, our forefathers and our parents. It's not the same world. Things are different now. Here's why this is the second move. You know what I mean? You got to continue to put yourself in prime position as the world changes, right? So what does that mean? We got to look to learn new skills. We got to try to be mindful of skills that are going to be needed in the future, taking into account AI and automation. We can already see that jobs are starting to be lost because of AI. So what type of industries, what type of skills can prevail through tough times? Now, we don't know exactly what jobs are going to be impacted, but I think it never hurts to learn a trade. Things like electricians, plumbers, mechanics, they're going to still have a role in the future. As a bonus, you can work on your own stuff And you can take side jobs to earn a little extra income. So it kind of is a triple whammy there. All right, also look to add skills like sales and marketing to your repertoire. These are gonna give you the ability to sell your own products or your own services or sell somebody else's. And it's a really underrated skill. Then educate yourself about financial markets. You know, for me, things began to make a lot more sense once I began to follow the stock market and invest a little bit more. You got a little bit more skin in the game, and then it allows you to follow the money. I think you've probably heard that before. And in doing that, it makes like business and politics, I think, a little bit easier to understand. Believe it or not, continuous learning, it creates more opportunity for you. It gives you leverage, right? It gives you a lot of leverage. It may sound harsh, but if you're not growing as a person, if you're not making yourself better, you're doing the opposite. You're either getting worse. And to be really harsh, I could say that, like, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? Being stagnant will only get you left behind, you know, and information has never been more accessible, more at our fingertips than it has been right now. I mean, you can literally, you know, take virtual classes from your bed or learn from your bed rocking your PJs, right? I've learned as much from YouTube and paid courses than I have in college. About the same, maybe even a little bit more, right? There's so many free resources out there if you're willing to put in the time and do a little research. If you want to save time, I mean, a good cheat code for this is joining a community of people that kind of have done this before, taking on a mentor. I think those are real cheat codes that can accelerate you that learning process a lot faster. You know, learning allows you to take control, which leads us to our most important step. Our third and most important step is accountability. I probably should have put this one first because nothing happens without it. So let me cut it to you straight. No one's coming to save you. Not Trump, not the president, not the government, not your senators, not your mayor, not none of those people. Not your family, your mom, dad, your sister, cousin, whatever, right? The only thing that you can truly control is yourself and your actions. So start by taking responsibility for your situation, by taking responsibility for your choices, you know, past and present, and then start to take responsibility, accountability for your future. It's up to you. Like this is your life. Wherever you are right now is the result of the decisions that you've made in the past anyway, right? So once you realize this, you know that you're now in control. Drop the excuses, because excuses keep you stuck. Nobody cares about excuses, and excuses don't help you. You know, understand the reasons why something happened, but don't blame the economy, the president, the system, your parents, your spouse, your job, other people at your job, other people that you run into. You know, I think you get the point. All right. It might feel good in the moment. We all complain from time to time. I do my fair share of complaining. I'm working on it, trying to get better at that. But complaining doesn't change anything. Like, what does change things is holding yourself accountable, saying it's on me. And doing that gives you the choice to respond instead of react, right? It allows you to take action or inaction in some cases. Accountability isn't about feeling sorry for yourself or feeling helpless. It's about harnessing your innate power, right? This power that you have within you from the very beginning. When you stop, waiting for a savior, you become your own. Being accountable for your life removes any limits that you may have had on you, and it gives you something so much more valuable, right? It gives you choice. So now you know the 3 moves, right? You know the 3 steps. You got to get your finances right. You got to continue to learn, build up your skills, and you got to take responsibility and accountability for your life. Knowing this is one thing, acting is another. Knowledge is power. I know you heard that before, but it's only power if you put that power to use, right? So if you don't have a budget, start one. Help somebody else start one if you got that covered. And begin to work to save 10, 20% of your income, build that emergency fund, rainy day fund, right? and then fund that brokerage account so you can invest so that your money makes money for you, right? If that seems overwhelming, don't worry, I got you. You know, just promise that you're gonna take responsibility for your life. You're gonna take accountability. You're gonna identify whatever your next step is, whether it be big or small, and you're gonna proceed to take that step. And you're gonna do that over and over until you have the life that you want. Now, I hope this video gave you value. If there's anything that you want me to expand on or go into more detail on, just let me know in the comments. Hit the like button if you know this provided you value. If you're in the mindset, because this is the stuff that I'm into, if you're in the mindset, music, personal growth, I like to talk about that on this channel. So consider subscribing if you're into that kind of thing. And I think that's all I got for y'all today. Thank you for being here with me, and y'all know the vibes. Peace and love. You heard?